my loves, I hope you're all well and healthy. In this video, I'm going to share my tips on how to stop procrastinating. Just a quick intro on what procrastination is. A lot of people think it's about being lazy, but really it's just your brain making the decision to get out of the task that you don't really feel like doing and getting the easier way out by procrastinating. Some people then let this continue and it becomes a habit and it happens in their everyday life, myself included. This could be anything from relationships where you postpone date night or schedule things later and later, or it could just be doing your assignments 40 minutes before it's due. We procrastinate by doing things that aren't important compared to what we actually need to get done. This could be anything from calling a friend, cleaning up, reorganizing your entire cupboard, or even just daydreaming. Then we start to give ourselves so many excuses and we accept that this is a normal behavior and it becomes a habit. For example, we might say, oh, I'm too tired, I need to have a day off. I don't give myself enough time off, and I want things to be perfect before I start doing this one small task. But why? Why does everything need to be in a certain way before you start? Because it's completely normal. We want to get out of doing the things that we don't want to do. Our body's reacting in any way it can to avoid doing something that we know needs to get done. I'll be sharing some tips on how we can start to control this, even though it is completely normal and sometimes we just have to go with the flow. The positive side of it is that our minds get to escape doing things that we dread, and then we start to become comforted by doing the simple things. And the negative side of procrastination is obvious. Things start to pile up. This can then impact so many other parts of our lives. For example, if we let our workload pile up, it can start to affect relationships. But if we start to neglect our relationships, there's an imbalance in what we're putting our attention to, and we're not in control of what we want in our lives. Now let's talk about how we can start to get these things into control. So the first thing that I'm going to say, which is really amazing to do, is to write a list. Now we're not going to call this a to-do list anymore, we're going to call it an I will get done list. Rewording this list into more of a positive thing can have a reverse psychology effect on your mind. Instead of thinking, oh my goodness, I have so many things to do, you start to think, my brain doesn't have a choice to do these things. These are things that I will get done. And eventually it will start to become a habit and you'll overcome the feeling to do something easier, because this won't be a difficult or daunting task. It will just be something that's part of your day and you will get done. So I have a full-time job and I work in a school, and recently I've given myself a lot of things to do while I'm at home. It started to become really overwhelming to a point where I wanted to just stop and take a huge pause. Then I realized that it was because I was treating everything in my life, everything that I had to do, as a burden or as a chore, and I didn't always want to do them, so I escaped. But when I reworded it that, you know, these are things that you're going to get done, my mind didn't have that space to make a decision to procrastinate. I didn't give myself any opportunity to escape, because it was just something that was going to get done in my day regardless of how I felt, because that's how I kind of rewired my brain to think about this list. So it's really important to get yourself into the right mindset before you tackle anything in your life. It doesn't have to be a list. It could just be an interview, for example, a new day at work or school. And this is where your morning routine comes into place. There's so many different things that you can do, like having a vision board, just like I have here, or you can read quotes that give you that motivation and put yourself in the right frame of mind to tackle anything during that day, rather than maybe grabbing our phones, which I know we all do, and scrolling through social media and having those moments where we might start to compare ourselves to people, or we might see something that's negatively impacted us and we take that on and we carry it throughout our day. It can often lead to us not feeling very motivated to do anything, which can then make everything seem like a daunting task and we avoid it by procrastinating. So the morning routine is a really important part, because this mindset that you create will stick with you throughout the day and you'll be a lot more productive that way. So another way that you can start to be more productive when you're doing things is just to add time limits and make the things fun. Now you can perhaps, if you live with other people, you could start to incorporate competitions, who's going to get their jobs done first, and each of you have to give each other a reward or something, or you can just make it fun on your own. I have these slipper socks that mop the floor. So they're just these microfiber socks that, you know, you clean the floor with, and I love wearing them because they look so cute and I have so much fun just wiggling myself around the entire apartment. The floor gets clean, I have fun, and it's also a mini workout, so I feel super productive productive after doing this, and I also feel uplifted and more motivated to do the next thing. And when we're living with other people, if everyone is on the same page and gets things done at the same time, that energy of motivation gets spread around and a lot of the people are more productive. So it's really important to make sure that you have these people with you and you motivate them, or you give them some kind of incentive to join in with the cleaning or the chores or anything you want them to do. You can even get your colleagues involved. Whoever gets their paperwork or marking done on time gets a free meal on me. There's so many creative ways that you can incorporate so much fun into the tasks that you might not think you would enjoy. So yeah, give it a go and let me know what you think. The next thing I want to say is to visualize. Now, this is one of my favorite things to do. I like things to be in a particular way, and when I come into a room, I visualize what it would be like once I've cleaned it, and that is my goal in the end, and that is what I create. When I know that the room is messy or I need to sweep, I just imagine what it would look like when it's done and how it doesn't really take me long to do it. That motivation comes straight away. I'm cleaning and it takes about 5 minutes, and then that satisfaction that you get afterwards is what drives you. My next point is to not think about it. So that motivation that you get for that 1 second in the morning when you realize, oh, I need to take the clothes out of the washing machine, or I need to send this email. Don't think and don't let yourself do anything else but that. Sometimes I feel I need to make a really nice, beautiful list before I do anything on it. I like to write my lists on paper, on the iPad, on my phone, and then I like to draw and make them colorful, highlight them, when in all of that time I could have just got one thing done. I'm not saying don't spend time on doing this, but when you have that energy to do something in that moment, jump at it. Because once we start doing other things, then our brain starts to come up with more and more excuses to why we shouldn't be doing the thing that we're supposed to. Even at a moment where we might have every single thing done, we might have a perfectly clean place and we're not at work, but we know we're working on a small project. If we give ourselves the time, our brain will very happily come up with any excuse to do anything else. But if we jump at it and we open our laptops or we begin that project, then we're more likely to just be motivated, because there's no barrier stopping you from doing that at that moment. There's nothing coming in your way, so don't let your mind create that, because remember, that's what procrastination is. I always like to go back to talking about mindfulness, because once you start to practice it and incorporate it into your lives on the good days, it'll be there to help you take control of the situations on the bad days. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps you have a productive day, and don't forget to subscribe.